The brain is one of the most complex organs in the human body, and is arguably the most important. There are two hemispheres in the brain, which are divided into four lobes: the frontal, parietal, occipital, and temporal lobes. In these lobes are several different parts of the brain with different functions. The frontal lobe is, as its name suggests, the front of the brain, in which most of the important cognitive skills function. The frontal lobe, no matter the task, is always extremely important. While playing sports such as soccer, the frontal lobe, to name a few functions, is required to communicate with teammates and follow the rules of the game. With a damaged frontal lobe, I wouldn't even be able to join the team. The parietal lobe, located behind the frontal lobe in the top of the brain, processes most of the sensory information received. When dribbling the soccer ball, I need to keep my head up so I can make the right decisions and be informed on what is happening. By touching the ball during a dribble, the parietal lobe receives this information and I know where the ball is without looking at it. In this situation, a damaged parietal lobe could diminish my ability to view the game, as I would need to look at the ground. The occipital lobe, placed in the back of the brain, is involved in visual processing. It is difficult to play soccer without visual inputs. Using the occipital lobe, I am able to see my teammates, the other team, and the ball, process this information, and utilize it to play the game. The temporal lobe, located at the bottom of the brain, is involved in primary auditory perception. This includes hearing and speech. Like the other lobes, the temporal lobe is spread over the two hemispheres. However, there is a dominant side of the temporal lobe, which for most is the left. In the game of soccer, communication is key. By using speech and listening to my teammates, we are able to function as a group and make the team more effective. If my temporal lobe was not functioning properly, I would not be able to communicate with my team and would be out of sync. The corpus callosum is a nerve fiber bundle that connects the left and right hemispheres of the brain. When playing soccer, movement on both sides needs to be coordinated for efficiency. The corpus callosum allows for this by connecting both hemispheres of the brain. However, with a damaged corpus callosum this would not be possible. For example, with a damaged corpus callosum, I would not be able to see what is happening in my left visual field, creating an imbalance in my perspective. The thalamus functions to relay motor and sensory signals to the cerebral cortex, which in turn controls the nervous system of the body to respond accordingly. The thalamus allows me to move while playing. If the nervous system of my body was not controlled properly, I wouldn't be able to play at all. The hippocampus is a small curved portion of the brain that is involved with memory and learning. In the game of soccer, skills are learned and stored in memory, as well as important strategies. With a damaged hippocampus, I would not be able to recall this information, and would be worsened. If I had Alzheimer's, which damages the hippocampus, I would probably forget what I was doing when put into a game. The amygdala is a small part in the lower brain which processes emotions. Fear and anger are important emotions in soccer, and this is the speciality of the amygdala. However, it is better to not have fear, as confident players are better players. Anger helps drive some people, but personally, I value a cool head more. With a damaged amygdala, I would be much more prone to making risky decisions. The pituitary gland, coined as the master gland, is the gland which regulates the body's well-being. Soccer is a very physical activity. The body requires regulation when undergoing such activities, which is where the pituitary gland comes into play. With a faulty pituitary gland, I would not want to know what would happen after physically exerting myself. The Broca's area is a part of the frontal lobe which helps with speech. Speech, as mentioned earlier, is a large part of the game. I need to comprehend what my teammates are saying and act on it, as well as